In the endless dark of space, a fleet waited, silent, enormous, and filled with tension. Thousands of ships formed a wall of metal and light near the border of human territory. Alien destroyers, carriers, and dreadnoughts floated like sleeping beasts, each one armed with weapons strong enough to destroy entire worlds. The command ships pulsed with activity, glowing with green and blue light as alien officers moved across shining decks. Every soldier, every commander, every weapon was ready. The war that the galaxy had feared for decades was finally here. The target was Earth, the home of humanity. Across the fleet, messages passed quickly between ships. Reports confirmed what they had all expected. Humanity was preparing to defend their world. The aliens believed the humans were stubborn, emotional, and proud. They had seen humanity rise fast, too fast, and now the other races wanted to remind them who ruled the stars. The alien High Commander, a tall figure with silver skin and golden eyes, stood on the bridge of the lead warship. His voice was calm but full of pride. "They will come," he said. "Humans always fight. They cannot resist a challenge." Every ship in the armada was in formation. Energy cores hummed softly, and the glow of engines cast long shadows across their metal hulls. Soldiers checked their weapons, pilots ran last-minute systems checks, and officers watched the radar screens. The silence of space was broken only by the low hum of power and the distant vibration of reactors. The fleet expected movement from Earth any second. A massive human counterattack, an army of ships to match their own. But as the hours passed, nothing came. The dark side of Earth stayed quiet. The alien commanders grew impatient. Some believed it was a trick. Others thought humanity had surrendered already. Then suddenly one of the sensors beeped softly. The radar screen flashed. A single blip appeared, moving slowly from Earth's orbit into open space. The alien crew stared in disbelief. "One ship," one of them said. "That can't be right. There must be more behind it." But the radar confirmed the truth. Just one small human ship had left Earth. Its signature was faint, smaller than any warship they knew. It wasn't broadcasting a call sign or battle code. It wasn't even responding to hails. The High Commander narrowed his golden eyes. "Zoom in," he ordered. The screen expanded, showing the image of the strange vessel. It was dark gray, sleek, and unlike any human design they had ever seen. It had no visible weapons, no escort, no fleet. It was alone. "Is this their idea of peace?" One of the lieutenants laughed. "Maybe they are here to surrender." The others joined in, their laughter echoing across the deck. The High Commander smiled faintly. "Or maybe," he said quietly, "they are mocking us." Meanwhile, the single human ship continued its silent journey. It moved slowly, as if in no hurry. The ship's engines glowed a soft blue, almost calm against the black of space. Every alien sensor scanned it, trying to understand what kind of ship it was. Some thought it was a scout, others believed it was a diplomatic vessel. A few whispered that it could be something new, something dangerous. But no one could be sure. Inside the alien flagship, tension grew. "It's not armed," said one technician. "At least not in any way we can detect." Another added, "But it's not transmitting anything either. No message, no signal, just silence." The commander frowned. No ship flies into an armada of 500 warships without a reason. He leaned closer to the viewing screen, studying the small human craft. "What are you hiding?" The aliens decided to test it. A smaller cruiser moved forward, its weapons aimed at the approaching ship. "Fire a warning shot," ordered the commander. A beam of light shot across space, passing close to the human vessel. It did nothing. No evasive movement, no reply. The human ship continued on the same path, moving straight toward the center of the alien fleet. More ships targeted it now. Energy weapons charged, missiles locked, and shields activated. The human vessel was still silent, calm, unshaken. The aliens grew uneasy. "Maybe they don't understand the threat," said one pilot. Another replied, "Or maybe they just don't care." The commander hesitated. The silence of that ship felt heavy, unnatural. It moved as if it knew something the rest of them didn't. Minutes passed and the distance closed. The alien fleet surrounded the human ship completely. Thousands of guns pointed directly at it. From the bridge of the flagship, the commander gave one final command. "Send a message to Earth," he said. "Ask them what this means. Ask them why they sent only one ship to face an army." But before the message could be sent, something strange happened. The lights across the alien ships flickered. Sensors began to fail. Communications went silent. Every radar screen turned black for a second, then came back filled with static. The human ship still moved forward untouched. No signal came from it, but the power surge spread through the entire fleet. Panic started to rise.
"We're losing systems,"
shouted an officer.
"Shields are down.
Engines are unstable."
The commander's eyes widened. "What did they do?" he whispered. Then, for the first time in his long career, he felt fear. On the viewing screen, the small human ship seemed to glow faintly. A thin halo of blue light surrounded it, spreading slowly through the darkness. The alien fleet watched, frozen, unable to understand what they were seeing. It was not a weapon they knew. It was not an attack they could measure. The human ship simply moved past them as if they didn't exist, leaving behind silence and confusion. The commander stared at the empty space where the ship had been. The radar now showed nothing. The ship had vanished completely. Around him, officers spoke nervously, trying to explain, but no one had an answer. In that moment, the High Commander realized the truth. Humanity had not come to fight a war of numbers. They had come with something else, something greater. He whispered to himself, his voice shaking slightly. They expected an army. But humanity sent only one ship. And somewhere in the endless dark, that ship continued forward, silent, unstoppable, and carrying a secret the galaxy had never seen before. The mysterious ship drifted through the silent sea of stars, far from Earth now. Its name was the Horizon. Sleek, dark, and built from metal that shimmered like glass under starlight, it looked nothing like any ship ever launched by humans. It was smaller than a cruiser, but stronger than anything ever made. The aliens had called it weak, but they didn't know its story. They didn't know what it carried inside. Inside the Horizon, the air was calm, almost too calm. The lights were dim, glowing softly against the steel walls. Only 5 people were aboard. 5 humans chosen not because of rank or fame, but because they had nothing left to lose. At the center of the bridge stood Commander Elias Ward, a man with sharp eyes and a voice that carried quiet authority. He had served in countless battles, but this mission was unlike any before. This was not about victory. It was about something much greater. He stood near the main console, watching the stars slide by on the viewing screen. His reflection stared back at him, tired yet determined. "They think we're weak," he said softly. "They think we're afraid." His voice was steady, but deep inside, he felt the weight of every life on Earth. Behind him, Lieutenant Mara Voss, the ship's engineer, glanced up from her station. "They won't think that for long," she replied. The hum of the engines filled the air, a low rhythmic sound that almost felt alive. The Horizon was powered by something new, something born from desperation and genius. It was called the quantum core, a technology that could bend light, time, and even gravity. Only a handful of scientists on Earth had ever understood it. Most of them were gone now, lost during the first wave of alien attacks. But before they died, they left behind this, humanity's final hope. "Status report," Ward said. Mara's fingers moved quickly over the glowing controls. "Quantum core stable. Energy output at 60%. Shields are holding." On another console, Dr. Arlen Pike, the scientist who had worked on the core, spoke without looking up. "We can't use full power yet. The systems need more calibration." Ward nodded. "We'll have time. The fleet is still watching us." A faint smile crossed Mara's face. "They're afraid, Commander. They just don't know it yet." The commander turned back toward the viewing screen. Outside, distant stars flickered like cold fire. In that endless black, the alien fleet still waited, unsure of what to do. Hundreds of their ships hovered far behind, keeping their distance. Ward could feel their eyes on him, even across the void. "Let them watch," he said quietly. "Fear is the first step to understanding." Down in the lower deck, Lieutenant Jonah Reed, the ship's pilot, sat at his controls. His hands hovered just above the holographic flight sticks. "You really think one ship can stop all of them?" he muttered. His voice carried through the comms. Dr. Pike answered from the bridge, his tone calm. "Not one ship, Jonah. One idea." Reed frowned. "And what's that supposed to mean?" Ward's voice came through the speakers. "It means we show them what humanity really is. We don't win by numbers. We win by will." For a moment, silence filled the ship. Each of them thought of home. of the blue planet hanging far behind them. Families, cities, oceans, memories. Everything they loved was at risk, and now all of it rested on them, on this single vessel drifting through the dark. Suddenly the console lights flickered. A sharp tone echoed through the bridge. Mara looked up. "Commander, we're being scanned again." The radar lit up with alien signals. Multiple ships were closing in, moving fast. "They're testing us," said Ward. "They want to see if we'll run." Reed's hands tightened on the controls. "Orders, sir?" Ward's eyes stayed locked on the approaching lights. "Hold course. Do not fire. Do not move." The alien ships drew closer, surrounding the horizon on all sides. Then a bright beam flashed across space, a scanner pulse that washed over the ship like a wave of energy. For a moment the systems dimmed. Then everything went quiet again. The alien ships paused. They didn't attack. They just watched. Inside the enemy flagship, alien commanders stared at their data screens in disbelief. Their scanners couldn't read the human ship. No power source detected, no engine type, no life signs. It was as if the vessel wasn't really there. One of the officers turned to his commander. "It's an illusion, sir." "It must be." The commander frowned. "No," he said softly. "It's something else." Back aboard the Horizon, Dr. Pike adjusted a control dial. The screen stabilized. "They can't see us," he said quietly. "To them, we're a ghost," Mara smiled. "Good. Let's keep it that way." Ward looked down at the small data crystal he held in his hand, transparent, glowing faintly blue. Inside it was the heart of their mission, a code called Genesis Protocol. It was the key to activating the full power of the quantum core, something even he didn't fully understand. But he trusted it. "Every world has its last defense," he murmured. "This is ours." He placed the crystal into the console, locking it in. A soft vibration passed through the ship, almost like a heartbeat. The lights brightened, and the hum of the engines deepened in tone. Reed looked back at him from the cockpit. "Sir, if we do this, there's no going back." Ward nodded slowly. "There's nothing to go back to, Lieutenant." "Not if we fail." The ship turned slightly, aligning with the heart of the alien fleet. The vast enemy armada shimmered in the distance like a wall of stars. From far away, alien commanders watched the small human vessel begin to move again, straight toward them. No weapons, no escorts, no words. Just one ship against a galaxy of firepower. The alien high commander clenched his hands behind his back. "What are they doing?" he whispered. On the viewing screen of the Horizon, the fleet grew larger, brighter. The crew stood in silence as the stars ahead began to twist and blur. The quantum core activated for the first time. Space itself rippled around them. Mara looked at the commander. "Sir." "It's working." Elias Ward stared into the shifting void ahead. "Then let them see," he said softly. "Let them see what one ship can do." The light from the quantum core pulsed once, and the horizon vanished into nothingness. The alien armada stretched across space like a glittering wall of steel and fire. Hundreds of ships floated in formation, their weapons charged and ready. The commanders waited in silence, their eyes fixed on the spot where the horizon had vanished. Minutes passed. Nothing. The scanner showed only the cold emptiness of space. Then, without warning, a faint blue shimmer appeared at the edge of their radar. A single human signature. The horizon was back. The alien bridge officers jumped into action. "Contact detected!" Human vessel reappeared. "Sector 9, one shouted. The commander turned sharply toward the screen. There it was, in the same small ship, silent and unarmed, drifting toward them again. "How?" the commander muttered. "It disappeared from every sensor." "No ship can cloak that completely," another officer replied nervously. "Maybe it was a jump drive. But the readings don't match anything in our database." The commander narrowed his eyes. "They're testing us. Prepare intercept ships." 3 alien cruisers broke formation and moved toward the horizon. They were enormous, built for battle, covered in thick armor and heavy cannons. Inside their cockpits, alien pilots grinned with confidence. To them, this was sport, a single fragile human ship against their full power. Meanwhile, aboard the Horizon, the lights flickered softly as systems stabilized. The quantum core hummed quietly at the center of the ship, pulsing with blue light like a living heart. Commander Elias Ward stood near the main screen, watching the incoming enemies. "They're sending interceptors," said Lieutenant Mara Voss from her console. 3 ships. Fast and armed, Ward nodded slowly. Let them come. Dr. Pike's fingers moved quickly over his data tablet. Quantum system stable. But the cloaking field is draining power. We can't phase again so soon. Ward's eyes stayed on the screen. We won't need to. This time, we show them something else. Down in the pilot's bay, Lieutenant Jonah Reed tightened his grip on the controls. Sir, they're closing in fast. What's the plan? We can't fight them with regular weapons. Ward's voice came through the comms, calm and steady. We don't fight them, Lieutenant. We teach them to be afraid. The alien interceptors spread out, surrounding the human ship from 3 sides. Their scanners locked onto the small vessel. Target acquired, one pilot said with a smirk. Ready to disable. The commander's voice echoed through their radios. Do not destroy it yet. Bring it in. We'll see what tricks these humans are hiding. One of the alien ships fired a pulse beam, a bright streak of energy that shot toward the horizon. The blast hit directly, lighting up the dark. But when the light faded, the human ship was still there, untouched. The beam had passed straight through it. The alien pilots froze. What just happened? Their scanners went wild. The human ship flickered on their screens, vanishing for a moment, then reappearing behind them. It's impossible, one of them shouted. On the horizon, the bridge crew remained silent. The ship moved smoothly, almost gracefully, without a single weapon fired. Mara smiled faintly. They're confused. Ward looked down at the control panel. Good. Confusion leads to fear. He gave a quiet command. Activate the pulse. Dr. Pike hesitated. Are you sure, sir? It's untested. Ward's eyes were cold. Everything is untested until it matters. Pike pressed a button. Deep inside the ship, the quantum core began to spin faster, glowing with brilliant blue energy. A soft hum grew into a deep, resonant tone that filled the entire vessel. The lights flickered. Outside, the space around the horizon shimmered like water disturbed by a drop of rain. A wave of invisible energy burst outward. Silent, smooth and unstoppable. In an instant, every alien ship within range began to flicker. Systems failed. Lights went dark. Engines sputtered. Alarms filled the air. One by one, the cruisers lost control, drifting helplessly. Pilots shouted into their comms, but no signals transmitted. Their weapons shut down. Their power cores were dead. The alien commander on the flagship stood frozen, watching his fleet's monitors fill with static. Report, he shouted. What is happening? Sir, it's not a weapon. It's something else, one officer said. Our systems are being rewritten. Rewritten by an unknown signal. Back on the horizon, Dr. Pike studied the data. The quantum pulse is spreading through their systems. It's not destroying anything, it's rewriting it. Mara frowned. Rewriting? Into what? He hesitated. I don't know, maybe. It's showing them something. On the alien ships, screens flickered back on, but instead of tactical data, strange images appeared. Human faces, Earth's cities, oceans, children playing, soldiers standing together, humanity's history, flashing like memories across their displays. The aliens watched in silence, unable to move. For the first time, they saw humanity not as an enemy, but as something familiar. The commander stared, his voice trembling. They're showing us their home. On the horizon, Ward watched the pulse spreading farther. They wanted to know what humanity is, he said softly. Now they'll see it. The alien ships, overwhelmed and powerless, began to retreat slowly. The path ahead cleared. The horizon continued forward, calm and unstoppable, its engines glowing softly against the dark. Then, without warning, a massive distortion appeared on the radar. A new signal, far larger, stronger than anything before. The bridge lights dimmed. Mara's eyes widened. Commander! Something's coming. Ward looked up. From where? Everywhere, she said quietly. Outside, the stars seemed to bend. Space rippled like a storm. The alien fleet broke formation in panic. Their ships scattered as an enormous gravitational wave pulsed across the sector. The pulse woke something, Dr. Pike said, his voice barely a whisper. Ward stared at the screens, calm but tense. Then we'll find out what. The ship's hull vibrated as the sensors went dark. All around them, the stars twisted into a whirl of light. The quantum core surged on its own, reacting to the strange signal. For a single heartbeat, the universe went silent. Then the horizon vanished again, swallowed by light, leaving behind only silence and terrified alien fleet that had just witnessed the impossible. And somewhere in that blinding void, humanity's lone ship continued its journey into the unknown, toward whatever had awakened beyond the stars. The alien fleet drifted in silence. Hundreds of ships floated helplessly, their lights dim, their systems frozen. The stars around them seemed calm again, but every creature on those vessels felt one thing: fear. They had seen something impossible. One human ship, smaller than a cruiser, had appeared, vanished, and somehow shut down an entire armada without firing a single shot. Hours passed, but no one spoke. Engineers worked desperately to restart their systems. Pilots whispered prayers in alien tongues. On the flagship, the High Commander stood in front of a dark screen, his reflection staring back at him. His voice was quiet, almost trembling. "One ship," he said. "Only one ship did this." But far away from them, beyond the edge of their sensors, the horizon moved through the darkness, silent, invisible, like a ghost drifting between worlds. Inside the ship, the crew was still recovering. The lights flickered softly and a faint hum filled the air. Lieutenant Mara Voss leaned back in her chair, wiping sweat from her forehead. "The quantum core's stabilizing," she said. "But it's not happy. Whatever that energy wave was, it pushed us beyond limits." Commander Elias Ward stood near the observation window, staring at the stars. They looked wrong, twisted, brighter, closer than they should be. "Did we jump?" he asked quietly. Dr. Arlen Pike checked the readings, his face pale. "Not exactly. It's like we phased. We're between places." "Between?" Mara repeated, frowning. "You mean not in normal space?" Pike nodded slowly. "Exactly. We're inside the fold. A dimensional layer the core created to protect us from that pulse." Lieutenant Jonah Reed, the pilot, turned in his seat. "So we're ghosts now?" Pike didn't answer. The silence was answer enough. The view outside the window was eerie. Stars shimmered like reflections on water, bending and fading as if the universe itself were breathing. Strange, glowing trails of light passed by. Not ships, not meteors, just shapes, moving, distant, unknowable. Ward stepped closer to the glass. "Record everything," he said softly. "If we're seeing this, no one ever has before." Mara's hands flew across the console. "Commander, we're picking up something. A signal." Everyone turned. "A signal? From who?" "I don't know," she said. "It's faint, old. But it's human." Ward's eyes narrowed. "Human, out here?" She nodded. "It's broadcasting on an ancient distress frequency. From long before the quantum age. This shouldn't even exist anymore." Dr. Pike moved to the console, studying the waveform. "It's fragmented looping. Could be an echo caught in this dimension." Ward frowned. "Play it." The speakers crackled with static. Then, through the noise, a voice emerged, weak, distorted, but human. "This is Horizon Zero. Experiment failed. Containment breach. They're awake." Then silence. The crew froze. Reed broke the quiet first. "Horizon Zero? You mean another ship?" Pike's face turned pale. "No, Horizon Zero wasn't a ship. It was a facility. The first quantum core test site. It was destroyed, decades ago." Ward stared at him. "Destroyed how?" Pike hesitated. "They said it collapsed into itself. But no one ever found debris. Some said it just disappeared." Mara looked up at the commander. "Sir." "That signal came from ahead of us." Ward's expression hardened. "Set a course. Let's find out what's sending it." The engines hummed softly as the horizon adjusted direction. The stars bent and twisted around them as they moved deeper into the fold. Every second felt like an hour. The ship creaked as invisible forces brushed against its hull, whispering like wind. Jonah Reed kept his eyes on the viewport. "Sir, I don't like this. Feels like something's watching us." Ward didn't look away from the window. "You're right, Lieutenant. Something is." Mara's console beeped. "We're approaching the source." A shape began to appear ahead. Massive, floating in the dim blue haze of the folded space. At first it looked like an asteroid, but as they got closer, they saw structure. Metal, towers, shattered hulls. Pike's breath caught. "That's not a ship. That's a station." The wreck hung silently, torn apart, surrounded by drifting fragments. Its surface was covered in strange symbols and scorch marks. At its center, one word was still visible, burned into the metal in faded English letters: Horizon Zero. No one spoke. The silence pressed against them like a weight. Ward finally said, "Take us closer." Slow speed. As the ship drifted near the ruined station, the lights inside it flickered. Faint. Ghostly. Something still had power. The comms crackled again. This time, the voice was clearer. They're still here. Don't wake them. Then the signal cut out. Mara's hands trembled slightly. Commander, what does that mean? Ward's eyes stayed on the ruined structure. It means whatever destroyed Horizon Zero might not be gone. The ship's scanners suddenly flared with new readings. Faint energy traces, moving shapes inside the wreckage. Not human, not mechanical, Pike whispered. Life signs. But they're wrong. Not like anything in the database. The commander turned sharply. Shut down lights. Go silent mode. The bridge went dark. Only the faint blue glow of the core remained. Outside, the wreck hung still, but something moved within its shadows. A flash, a shimmer. Like eyes opening in the dark, Reed's voice was a whisper. Sir, are they seeing us? Ward didn't answer. He just stared ahead, jaw tight. Then, from deep inside the dead station, the distress signal played again. Louder this time, repeating endlessly. But now it had changed. They're awake. They see you. The crew froze. The horizon's lights flickered. The ship trembled. The core's hum deepened into a low growl, as if reacting to something outside. Ward raised his voice, calm but sharp. All hands, prepare for evasive maneuver. Outside the window, the shadows began to move, hundreds of them, gliding through the wreck, rushing toward the ship like a storm. Mara gasped. They're coming straight for us. And as the first shape burst from the ruins, glowing like fire in the void, Ward whispered one sentence under his breath. The ghosts in the stars. They're not ghosts anymore. The Horizon's engines roared to life, but the darkness was already moving, fast, alive, and hungry. The Horizon shuddered violently as shadows streaked past its hull. The ship's alarms screamed, lights flashing red across the bridge. Every screen filled with distorted signals, movement, energy spikes, radiation bursts. None of it made sense. Multiple contacts. Lieutenant Mara Voss shouted over the noise. They're everywhere, surrounding us. Commander Elias Ward stood firm, gripping the railing as the ship tilted. Steady, he ordered.
Keep shields up and engines stable.
I can't, she replied. The core's flux levels are spiking. It's reacting to them. On the main viewer, the dark shapes moved like living shadows, darting in and out of view. They had no solid form, just outlines of light, glowing faintly in the haze of folded space. Some looked like twisted fragments of machines, others like shimmering beings made of smoke and static. Dr. Arlen Pike's hands trembled over his console. These aren't life forms as we know them. They're energy signatures, remnants of something caught inside the fold. Lieutenant Jonah Reed turned sharply. Remnants? You mean ghosts? Pike's eyes were wide, reflecting the glowing lights on his screen. Not ghosts, echoes. Fragments of minds trapped when the original Horizon Zero collapsed. Ward's face hardened. You're saying these things were human? I think they were, Pike said quietly. Once, the shadows struck again. The ship jolted hard. Sparks burst from the ceiling. The core's hum deepened, almost like a growl. Core containment dropping, Mara called out. If it destabilizes again, we're done. Ward moved to the main control. Divert all power to shields. Prepare the pulse. Pike's head snapped up. No! If you pulse here, it could tear the fold apart. We'll be crushed between dimensions. Ward didn't flinch. Better that than letting them in. Before he could give the order, a voice broke through the static. Soft, distant, yet human. Don't fight them. Follow the signal. The bridge fell silent. Mara froze. Who was that? Reed looked around. It sounded human. The comms crackled again, and the same voice repeated, this time clearer, coming from the direction of the ruined station. Follow the signal. You don't have much time. Ward turned to Pike. Source? Pike checked the readings. Same origin, Horizon Zero, but it's different now. The frequency has changed. Mara leaned over. Changed how? It's alive, Pike whispered. Someone, or something, is controlling it. Ward made his decision instantly. Set a course for the signal. Reed stared at him. Sir, that's suicide. The moment we get closer, those things will rip us apart. Ward looked him straight in the eye. Maybe. But whoever's sending that signal knows what's happening. They might be the only ones who can stop it. Reluctantly, Reed nodded and turned back to his controls. The engines ignited with a soft roar, pushing the horizon forward through the glowing mist. The shadows followed, not attacking this time but circling as if watching. The signal grew stronger. It pulsed through the ship's speakers, a deep rhythmic sound, almost like a heartbeat. Each pulse made the core vibrate in response, as if resonating with it. Mara frowned. The core's syncing with the signal. Pike looked at the readings, his eyes widening. It's not random. It's communicating. Ward's voice was quiet. What's it saying? He hesitated. It's coordinates. The commander's brow furrowed. Coordinates to what? Pike took a breath. A place that doesn't exist in known space. But according to this, it's older than anything built by humans or aliens. The crew stared at the screen in silence. Ward finally said, "Plot a course." As the horizon moved deeper into the fold, the strange shadows began to thin. The violent energy waves faded, replaced by a calm, eerie light that spread across the viewports. The wreck of Horizon Zero disappeared behind them, swallowed by mist. For a brief moment, everything was still. Mara exhaled. Maybe we lost them. But Dr. Pike's eyes stayed fixed on his monitor. No, they're following, just watching now. Ward looked out the window, where faint shapes glowed in the distance, like fading stars. Maybe they're not our enemies. Maybe they want us to finish what they couldn't. The ship drifted forward through the endless blue haze. Then suddenly the mist parted, and something vast appeared before them. A structure unlike anything they had ever seen. It was enormous, the size of a moon, yet perfectly symmetrical. Rings of metal and crystal turned slowly around a glowing center. It looked ancient, not built, but grown. Reed's mouth fell open. What is that? Pike's voice was barely a whisper. It's a gate. A quantum relay, the first one ever made. Mara looked at him sharply. By who, humans? He shook his head. No, something older. Something that existed long before any of us. The signal pulsed again. Stronger now, guiding them straight toward the center of the colossal structure. Ward stepped closer to the glass. This is what the message wanted us to find. The core began to vibrate harder, glowing in rhythm with the signal. Lights flickered, and a low hum filled the bridge. Commander, Mara said, alarm rising in her voice. The core's resonating too much. It's merging with the gate's energy. Dr. Pike shouted. If the frequencies match completely, it'll open, but we have no idea where it leads. Ward didn't move. His gaze stayed locked on the spinning rings of light. Maybe that's the point. Maybe this isn't about where it leads, but what's waiting on the other side. The hum turned into a deep rumble. The ship trembled. A column of blue light shot from the gate center, enveloping the horizon. Mara yelled, "Core overload!" Reed's hands flew over the controls. "We're being pulled in." Ward gave a single command, calm, certain, final. "Hold course." The crew stared at him in disbelief as the light swallowed everything. The bridge shook violently. Every console flashed red. Then, just before the ship was consumed, the voice returned one last time over the comms. Soft, steady, human. "Welcome home, Horizon," the light flared. And the ship was gone. Only silence remained, echoing across the fold, and a faint pulse that kept repeating through the void. As if whispering to the stars, the light faded slowly. Silence returned. When the horizon finally stopped shaking, the crew opened their eyes and gasped. Outside the windows was not space as they knew it. No stars, no black void. Instead, a soft golden mist stretched in every direction. Streams of glowing dust floated like rivers in the air. Giant fragments of rock drifted, each covered in strange symbols that pulsed faintly with light. Lieutenant Mara Voss blinked in disbelief. Where are we?" Dr. Arlen Pike checked his scanners, confusion spreading across his face. "This can't be real. Every reading is off the charts. Gravity, radiation, even time flow. Nothing makes sense." Reed looked around from the pilot's seat. "Feels like we're inside a dream." Commander Elias Ward stood at the front of the bridge, staring at the golden horizon. His voice was quiet but steady. "No, this isn't a dream. This is what the signal was leading us to." The hum of the quantum core had changed. It was no longer violent or unstable. It pulsed softly, almost peacefully, as if it had finally found where it belonged. Pike looked at the energy readings. The core is stable again, in perfect synchronization with the environment. He hesitated, then added, "It's like this place wants us here." Ward turned to him. "Can you locate the signal's exact source?" Pike adjusted the scanner. "Yes. It's coming from the center of this field." He pointed toward a massive structure floating in the distance, a circular platform surrounded by glowing pillars of light. "That's our target." "Then take us in," Ward ordered. As the horizon moved closer, the mist around them began to shift and ripple. Shapes started forming within it, faint outlines of cities, mountains, oceans. They looked almost real, like memories of worlds long forgotten. Mara whispered, "It's showing us something." Pike studied his screen, awe on his face. "These are not projections. They're echoes, data imprints stored in the quantum field. Every fragment is a record of something that once existed." "Whose memories?" Reed asked. "Not human," Pike said softly. "Older." The ship slowed as it reached the platform. The light around them dimmed. For a moment, everything went completely still. Then, a beam of light shot upward from the platform, scanning the ship. The core responded instantly, glowing brighter than ever. Mara's hands flew over her console. "We're being scanned!" "But it's not harmful. It's reading the core." The light faded, and then a voice echoed through the ship's speakers, calm, clear, and undeniably human. "Welcome, Horizon. You've come far." The crew froze. Reed stared at the comms. That voice again.
The one from the signal!
Ward's eyes narrowed. "Identify yourself." There was a pause. Then the voice spoke again. "I am Commander Ayla Tran. Of the original Horizon Zero." Everyone went silent. Mara's voice trembled. "That's impossible. Horizon Zero was destroyed 50 years ago." "Destroyed," the voice said softly, "but not lost." Pike's face went pale. If that's really her, how is she communicating? "There's no biological signal, because I am not alive," the voice replied. "At least, not in the way you understand it. When Horizon Zero fell into the quantum fold, our bodies were lost. But our minds, our consciousness, merged with the network that built this place." Ward stepped closer to the main console. "You're saying this is some kind of archive?" "Yes," Ayla said. "This is the vault, the first creation of the ones who came before. It holds the memory of every civilization that ever reached beyond its stars." Reed frowned. "And why bring us here? Why now?" "Because your kind is next," she said. "Humanity has reached the same edge we once did. The same hunger for expansion, the same arrogance that nearly erased us all." The bridge went silent again. Only the hum of the core filled the air. Ward's tone was calm, but edged with tension. "Then what do you want from us?" "To finish what we could not," Ayla replied. "The vault must awaken, but only by human hands. Your core carries the key. You were chosen the moment it was built." Pike's eyes widened as he scrolled through the data. "She's right. The core isn't just power, it's a seed. A fragment from this place hidden in human technology for decades." Mara turned to Ward. "Sir, if we activate it, we don't know what will happen." Ward looked out at the endless golden expanse. "Maybe that's the point. Maybe this is what the universe has been waiting for." The ship lowered onto the platform. The deck rumbled softly. Lights from the pillars converged toward the core, surrounding it in a swirling halo. Pike's voice was shaking. "Once this starts, there's no turning back." Ward gave a small nod. "Then let's begin." He placed his hand on the control interface. The core pulsed brighter, once, twice, then exploded in a blinding surge of light. Outside, the entire vault came alive. The golden mist shifted into waves of color, blue, silver, red, forming shapes, worlds, and galaxies. It was as if creation itself was breathing again. Mara shielded her eyes. "What's happening?" "The vault is remembering," Ayla's voice said, fading with static. "And soon, it will decide." The ship's systems flickered wildly. Every monitor displayed strange symbols, patterns too complex to read. The core pulsed faster and faster, filling the bridge with a sound like 1,000 voices whispering all at once. Reed gritted his teeth. "It's too much. We can't hold it." Ward stood silently, eyes locked on the glowing center. "Hold steady." Then, just before everything went white, Ayla's voice whispered one final message, almost like a warning. "Be ready, Commander. The vault remembers what came before, and it never forgets those who awaken it." The light burst outward, swallowing the ship, the platform, and the mist, leaving behind nothing but silence and a faint echo that drifted across the void, repeating softly, "The vault has awakened." When the light faded, the horizon was silent. No alarms, no voices, just a soft hum echoing through the ship, steady, deep, and strangely peaceful. Commander Elias Ward opened his eyes. The bridge was bathed in golden light, but it was no longer coming from the quantum core. It came from everywhere. The walls, the air, even the floor seemed alive, as if the ship itself had merged with something greater. "Status?" he asked quietly. No one answered. He turned. Mara, Reed, and Pike were still at their station, but they weren't moving. Their eyes glowed faintly, unfocused, like they were dreaming while awake. Ward's stomach tightened. "Lieutenant? Doctor?" No response. Then a familiar voice filled the air, calm and soft. "They are safe, Commander Ward." Ward spun around. The light in front of him began to take shape, forming into the faint image of a woman. Her outline flickered like a hologram, but her presence felt real. "Ayla Tran," Ward said quietly. "From Horizon Zero." The ghostly figure nodded. "You've done what no one else could." "You've awakened the vault," Ward frowned. "Then why is my crew frozen?" "They are not frozen," Ayla replied. "They are connected. The vault is showing them what it remembers." Ward took a step closer. "Memories of what?" "Everything," she said simply. "Every world that rose, every one that fell." Ward looked around. "Then why am I still awake?" Ayla's image flickered, her voice lower now. "Because the vault chose you to decide what comes next." Ward's jaw tightened. "Decide what?" She turned toward the main viewport. The golden light outside shifted, becoming a vast, endless field of stars. One by one, planets appeared, millions of them, each glowing like a tiny ember. Some bright and alive, others dark and cold. "These are the civilizations that came before," Ayla said. "They reached the vault just as humanity has. Each was given the same choice." Ward watched in silence as the lights changed. Bright worlds flared, then dimmed, fading into nothing. Some used what they learned to build. Others, to destroy. The vault remembers both. Ward's voice was low. "And now it's humanity's turn." "Yes," Ayla said. "But before the vault judges your kind, it must judge you." The ship began to tremble. The light grew stronger, wrapping around Ward like a storm. His vision blurred. When it cleared, he was no longer on the bridge. He stood in a barren wasteland under a red sky. Broken ships lay half-buried in dust. Fires burned in the distance. It was Earth, but not the Earth he knew. He saw cities in ruins. Skyscrapers cracked open. Oceans turned black. Drones hovered over fallen buildings, scanning for life. A voice whispered in the wind. "This is what will come if humanity continues to reach for power without purpose." Ward's heart pounded. "This can't be real." "It's one of many futures," Ayla's voice said from the sky. The vault shows possibilities, not certainties. The scene shifted again. Now he stood in orbit above a shining blue planet, Earth restored, peaceful, united. Ships flew in formation, not for war, but for exploration. "This is what could be," Ayla continued. "But every future begins with a choice. Yours." Ward looked around, trying to understand. "Why me? I'm just a soldier." "A commander." Ayla appeared before him, clearer now, her eyes glowing softly. "Because soldiers see truth in both destruction and duty. You carry the weight of both worlds." Ward clenched his fists. "And what does the vault want me to choose?" "To open the path, or to seal it forever." The ground beneath him split, revealing two glowing symbols in the dust. One pulsed blue, calm and bright. The other red, burning like fire. "If you choose blue," Ayla said, "the vault will share its knowledge with humanity. Infinite energy, travel beyond galaxies, creation itself." "And the red?" Ward asked. "The vault will shut down. Humanity will forget it ever existed. The core will collapse. But the danger of what lies beyond will be sealed away." Ward stared at the two choices. "And if I make the wrong one?" "Then history will repeat itself," she said. "As it always has." He stood there for a long time, the wind howling around him. He thought of his crew, Mara's loyalty, Reed's courage, Pike's curiosity. He thought of Earth, fragile, full of hope, but still haunted by fear. Finally, he looked up. "Humanity deserves to choose its own path, even if it's dangerous." Ayla's expression softened. "Then you have made your choice." The ground exploded with light. Ward shielded his eyes as everything dissolved around him. When the light faded again, he was back on the bridge. The crew gasped awake, blinking in confusion. "Commander?" Mara said, her voice shaking. "What happened?" Ward looked at the quantum core. It glowed with a steady blue light, brighter than ever, alive, powerful, limitless. Pike's scanners beeped wildly. "Sir, the vault's energy signature is spreading." "It's linking with our systems, rewriting them, but it's not hostile." Outside the viewport, the golden light condensed into a single beam that shot across the stars, a path leading into the unknown. Ward stared at it silently. "It's giving us a way forward." Mara turned to him. "Where does it lead?" He watched the beam stretch beyond the horizon, beyond the galaxy, somewhere no one's ever been. Then Ayla's voice echoed one last time, soft, fading, almost proud. "You have chosen creation, Commander. But remember, every gift has its cost." The beam brightened, and the horizon began to move toward it. The engines hummed softly, following the light into the endless expanse. As the ship disappeared into the glow, the vault behind them grew still, silent once more, its memory sealed, and somewhere, in that golden void, a whisper lingered. Humanity's story has just begun. The horizon drifted silently through the beam of light. No stars, no darkness, only a vast tunnel of shifting gold and blue. The ship moved smoothly, as if carried by unseen hands. Inside, the crew worked in quiet awe. Every console glowed with strange symbols, none of which belonged to human technology. The quantum core pulsed like a living heart, steady and powerful. Lieutenant Mara Voss glanced at the readings. "The energy levels are stabilizing again, but we're still accelerating, faster than light. Way faster." Dr. Arlen Pike leaned over her shoulder, his voice shaking slightly. "We're not moving through space anymore. We're moving around it." Reed frowned. "Around it? That doesn't make sense." Pike smiled faintly. "It's not supposed to. This is the vault's path. It bends the universe." Commander Elias Ward stood at the center of the bridge, his eyes fixed on the front window. The light outside was changing, darker now, streaked with flashes of red and silver. Like lightning hidden behind fog, he could feel it. Something waiting at the end of the beam. "Stay sharp," he said quietly. "We don't know what's ahead." The ship trembled slightly. The light began to thin, revealing a vast open void beyond. The beam ended at a massive sphere. A glowing world of glass and metal, surrounded by rings of energy. Mara whispered, "My God." "It's beautiful." Pike stared in awe. "That's not a planet. It's a construct, the size of a star." Ward nodded slowly. "The heart of the vault." The voice of Ayla Tran echoed softly through the ship, calm but weaker now, like a distant signal. "You've reached the source. The first creation. The Forge of Minds." Ward's voice was steady. "What is it?" "It was built by those who came before all others. They used it to shape life, to test those who followed." Reed frowned. "Test? What kind of test?" "The final one," Ayla replied. "The test of purpose." The ship moved closer to the forge. As they approached, energy flared from its rings, forming massive columns of light. A deep, resonant sound filled the air, not mechanical, but alive. Suddenly, all systems flickered. The bridge lights dimmed. Mara shouted, "We're losing control!" Ward gripped the rail.
Hold it steady.
But the ship stopped moving. It was caught, suspended in mid-space. The core glowed fiercely, reacting on its own. Then a new voice filled the air, deep, powerful. It wasn't coming from the comms. It was inside their minds. "So, humanity has opened the gate." The crew froze. The voice was ancient, layered, like 1,000 beings speaking as one. Ward took a slow breath. "Identify yourself." "I am the Keeper," it said. "Guardian of the vault, witness to every rise and every fall." The stars outside began to shift. Images appeared, countless worlds, civilizations born and destroyed. Massive empires rising in light, then burning to ash. Each species that reached this place was given the same gift, the Keeper continued. "And each used it to destroy themselves." Mara's voice trembled. "You think we'll do the same?" "All have," the voice replied. "Why should humanity be different?" Ward stood firm. "Because we learn from what we destroy. Because we remember." The Keeper's tone was cold. "Memory fades. Ambition remains. Show me, human. What have you truly learned?" Suddenly the bridge vanished in a blinding flash. Ward found himself standing in the ruins of a battlefield. Fires burned all around him. He saw human soldiers, fighting, bleeding, shouting. Above them, alien warships descended, raining fire. It wasn't the past. It wasn't the future. It was every war humanity had ever fought. The Keeper's voice echoed. You build peace from the bones of conflict. You unite only when you are afraid. Is that wisdom or survival? Ward shouted into the fire. It's choice. We make mistakes, but we also fix them. That's what makes us human. The flames rose higher. Then, in an instant, everything went dark. He was standing now in a quiet meadow, green and bright. A child stood before him, staring up at the sky. The same sky Earth once had. And what will you do? The Keeper asked softly. When the power to destroy is in your hands. Ward looked at the child, then at his reflection in the calm water beside him. Old, weary, but still human. He whispered, We'll protect it. Even from ourselves. Silence. Then a long, low sound filled the air. Not anger, but something almost like understanding. Then your trial is complete. The battlefield vanished. The bridge returned. The crew gasped as systems came back online. Mara blinked. What happened? Pike checked the core. The energy is stabilizing. The forge is shutting down. The Keeper's voice echoed one final time, softer now, fading into the stars. Humanity has chosen restraint. The vault's power will remain, but not as a weapon, as a guide. Use it well. The forge's light began to collapse inward, folding into a single brilliant spark. The spark drifted toward the horizon, merging with the quantum core. For a moment, everything went silent. Then the ship's system surged with new energy, calm, balanced, alive. Ward exhaled slowly. It's over. Mara turned to him. Sir, what did you see? He looked out the window, where the forge's light was fading into the endless dark. Everything. What we were, what we could be, and what we must never become. Reed smiled faintly. So, where do we go now? Ward stared into the vastness of space, a small, knowing smile on his face. Forward, the engines ignited softly. The horizon turned toward the stars, toward the unknown. The quantum core pulsed once more, a steady rhythm echoing like a heartbeat. As the ship disappeared into the black, a single whisper drifted across the cosmos, the last echo of the vault's keeper. Remember this, children of Earth. Creation is not your power. It is your promise. And then, silence. Far away, in the heart of the galaxy, a faint blue light flickered, the mark of the horizon, still moving, still exploring, carrying with it the memory of every world that came before. The age of humanity among the stars had begun.